In the heart of the 20th century, a powerful and profound image emerged from the ravages of war and famine, capturing the world's attention and evoking deep reflections on human suffering. It was a moment of stark reality, a fleeting intersection of life and death that spoke volumes about the world's indifference and our own culpability. This is the story of that image and the man behind the lens, David, a story not just of a photograph, but of a soul forever altered by the shadows of humanity. In March 1993, as war and famine waged their relentless assault on southern Sudan, David, a photojournalist driven by a quest to document the world's tragedies, embarked on a journey to the desolate village of Dranpa. The land was a parched, desolate expanse where hope seemed as scarce as sustenance. Amidst this bleak backdrop, David witnessed a scene that would forever etch itself into the annals of history. A vulture, gaunt and menacing, poised near a frail Sudanese toddler, barely clinging to life. David arrived in Dranpa aboard a UN plane that had come to deliver aid to the beleaguered village. As the plane's engines roared into the distance, David stepped out and was greeted by a scene that starkly contrasted the aid being offered. A young girl, emaciated and abandoned, lay on the dirt, her strength waning. The vulture, a grim sentinel of hunger and despair, loomed nearby. For about 20 minutes, David observed the scene, his heart heavy with the weight of the suffering before him. He waited, hoping for the vulture to spread its wings, to capture a moment that would convey the full depth of the tragedy. The vulture remained still, a silent predator watching over its prey. David's mind raced as he wrestled with the ethical dilemma before him. Should he intervene and help the child, or should he document the moment for the world to see? The choice was agonizing. The documentary impulse battled with the moral imperative to act. In the end, David decided to snap the photograph, a moment frozen in time that would come to symbolize the dire plight of famine-stricken Africa. After taking the haunting image, he chased the vulture away, but the damage had been done. The child's parents were not far, preoccupied with collecting food from the aid workers, unaware of the horrifying scene unfolding just steps away. The photograph was sold to the New York Times, where it first appeared on March 26, 1993, with the stark headline, "A Metaphor for Africa's Despair." The image quickly became iconic, a symbol of the profound suffering experienced in the region. It stirred global outrage and compassion, prompting many to question the fate of the child depicted. Hundreds of readers reached out to the newspaper, desperate to know if the girl had survived. The New York Times issued an unusual editor's note stating that the girl had enough strength to walk away from the vulture, but her ultimate fate remained unknown. David's decision to photograph rather than assist was met with intense scrutiny. The Sudanese journalists, bound by directives to avoid direct contact with famine victims to prevent disease transmission, faced their own moral quandaries. Yet, for David, the criticism was relentless. Editorials condemned him as a predator in his own right, a vulture capturing suffering for personal gain. Despite the global recognition and the Pulitzer Prize awarded for the photograph, David was tormented by the aftermath. The acclaim did little to soothe the gnawing guilt and haunting questions that plagued him. He often confided in friends, expressing his deep regret for not picking up the child and providing the help she so desperately needed. The image that had won him accolades also became a source of profound personal anguish. 3 months after the photograph was published, consumed by the violence and despair he had witnessed and unable to escape the tormenting questions about the child's fate, David succumbed to the darkness within. He took his own life, leaving behind a legacy of both powerful journalism and deep personal tragedy. The story of David and his haunting photograph serves as a powerful reminder of the complex interplay between professional detachment and human compassion. It highlights the moral dilemmas faced by those who bear witness to suffering and the profound impact their choices can have on their own lives and the lives of others. Ultimately, it underscores the importance of empathy and the need for a balance between documenting the truth and acting to alleviate suffering. In our pursuit of truth, we must not lose sight of our shared humanity and the moral responsibility we have to each other. Like this video if you love African stories and want to see more. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this tale and want more content like this.